The BMW 3 Series is really seen as the best of the best when it comes to sporty, four-door cars. And it's been that way for decades. Writers like me try to come up with superlatives to describe just how great a car this is to drive. There's a new version of the 3 Series out. It's more affordable, starting under $33,000, and more fuel efficient. But it's also considerably slower and less powerful than last year's base model. It's called the 320i, and it's got a 2-liter turbocharged engine that makes 180 horsepower. Now, 180 horses isn't a bad figure for most cars, but for BMW, it's definitely on the low side. They usually pack a lot more horsepower into their cars. But after driving the 320i for a week, I was impressed with just how quick this car felt. I expected a 180 horse engine to feel a bit more sluggish, but because it makes so much torque at such low RPMs, it feels like a much faster car than it actually is. Now, it helps that my test car came with the 6-speed manual transmission, so it was easy to wring the most out of this engine and have some fun with the rear-wheel drive handling. But it's that feeling of torque that really impressed me about it. You can put it in 6th gear and plant your foot on the gas and just feel the car pull forward like a freight train. And of course, the way this car handles is still the best on the market. Car companies everywhere are trying to copy the way this car feels over the road, and some have come close, but nobody's been able to replicate it exactly. It still has that BMW magic that lets it take corners and transition through turns so beautifully, and still be comfortable over the highway. That said, there were 3 things I think could be improved on this car. 1. Even though I realized this is the base model, I was a little surprised that a rear-view camera wasn't standard equipment on a $33,000 car. That's something that's become pretty commonplace even on cheaper cars, but you've got to pay an extra $950 to get it as part of the driver assistance package on the 320i. 2. The silver-coated trim in my test car didn't seem all that durable or upscale. I love everything else in the cabin, but that silver, plasticky trim just didn't do it for me. And 3, it has a start-stop feature to save gas where it turns the engine off when you come to a complete stop, sort of like hybrid cars. But it felt a little rough when the engine started back up, although I'm guessing that would be less noticeable if you had an automatic transmission. And honestly, that's getting pretty picky about what I think is a spectacular car to drive, even with the less powerful engine. You don't buy cars like this for the cabin trim or the rear view cameras or because you want to save gas. You buy a BMW because it feels incredible over the road. And that's what the 320i does best.